The most difficult part for me is really the very beginning. When all I've been given is, here's the type of game we're looking for.
The game can be presented in a million different ways. And the hardest part is often picking what is the best way to do it. You might have 20 options. You've got to pick the best one of all those options.
For every game I make, I probably throw away 9 ideas.
I think what sets WMS apart is really that we're not afraid to try new things. I think the game designer has a crazy idea. They don't really get a no around here. It's more the answer is just go prove it out. Prove out your idea, tell me it's really cool and we can actually do it.
We think about it differently than other people. Our competitors do stuff just for the sake of doing stuff. We can tell you why we did everything we did.
And it's that culture of allowing people to have the flexibility to, you know what, I need some time to go off and think about this. Okay, go off and think about that. Who do you need to join you to go off and think about that, to have that time set apart? Because you just can't sit at a desk and say, oh, I got the next great idea.
We have a process for that, obviously.
I tend to lock myself in a room, usually with coffee and a whiteboard, and just throw a ball at the ceiling for a few hours and write kind of what I think what the game should be, and then if anything sparks from that, I use it. If not, I sit there and do it again.
I get a lot of ideas from mistakes I make, or just while I'm working on it, things, well, I could have done this differently, or I could have done this differently. And it makes me sort of think outside the box, well, how would this actually work in a game if I did this crazy thing?
The bathroom is underestimated as a creative tool. Usually it's whenever I release that focus and walk away that suddenly it's like, oh, now everything comes together. Now I've got that idea that I was looking for. I got whenever I stopped looking for it.
I would start at the casino. I'll roam around, wander around, follow people, play, just kind of get in the atmosphere. Because I feel like if I can get in the zone of it first, then I can kind of come up with some ideas.
I'll sit there and try to hack away with pictures and get something, and I don't want the artist to think, this is how he wants it to look completely, because I can't draw, I'm not an artist, and just trying to convey that to the artist to say, oh, this is the look, and then they'll do something that's like, well, no, that's not it. Didn't you understand what I gave you before?
A lot of times the designers will just throw something out there, well, I'm thinking of this or that, and then those ideas start to foster. We'll go back to our drawing desks and start to just play around with it. Okay, I understand what he's going for. How can we really take that to the next level?
I was ready to just throw in the towel. And it was one of my first games, like, okay, this one is just doomed. But the artist just turned it around, and it was amazing. All of a sudden it was like, oh, this game's gonna be awesome.
If somebody has a great idea of how to improve a game, it doesn't necessarily just have to be a designer that comes up with it. Artists can say, hey, Jamie, have you ever thought about doing it this way?
That's kind of a big part of what we do is have generally an idea of how the math should work, generally an idea of the music, generally an idea of how the art should work, and then you guys go away and do your wonderful magic and bring me back something better than what I started with.
Here it comes!
Sounds are a difficult thing because we want to excite the player, we want them to feel emotion to it, we want to feel attached to it, but also we want them to be able to withstand hearing it for 8 hours in a row and not get tired of it or annoyed with it or bored with it.
To define the perfect sound in a game is tough, but I would say a lot of the sounds that work really well or sort of that are memorable and last over time are the sounds that will tell the player we're heading to something great.
I actually remember sitting in the chair and playing Wizard of Oz for the first time, and they had the sound amped way up, but those bonus triggers coming in and hitting in the back of the chair was so exciting and so arresting that I kind of stepped away from it going, I love it.
In a way, music is almost more important to me just because that's where everything is tied together. That adds a life to this otherwise mute thing you've given life to.
I think the bell that triggered Big Event, that started becoming really, really recognizable, and you could hear that across the floor.
Big Event was probably, and probably still is, the biggest project that we've ever worked on at WMS.
Big Event community gaming changed multiple times. I mean, that game was 6 months late, maybe 8 months late.
It took people from all areas of the company, hundreds of incarnations that we had to go through.
People tend to forget that because it was so successful, But if we would have shipped what we originally built, it would have failed.
It can be nerve-wracking when a new product goes out. You get a lot of work into it, companies invest a lot of money, and they expect a return for that money, and you never know how it's going to end up.
You hope and pray that people are playing it, first of all, because when you walk in and you see it empty, you're like, oh crap, this is not a good sign.
It goes to show that you always remember these projects that were rough, the dedication of the team here, and we'll get it figured out, and it's going to be cool. We always do, and that's what's cool about WMS.
See, didn't I tell you that was going to be cool?